Rolling Dice and Taking Names is sponsored by The Broken Token, creator of high-quality gaming accessories and storage solutions. Visit them online at thebrokentoken.com.
25 years ago, on the release date of this episode, I was saying I do to Marty. 25 years later, I'm saying, hey y'all, it's time for another episode of Rolling Dice and Taking Names. Today, the guys bring you a Scurry report of Council of Four and 2 5-minute initiatives of Space Base, which I love, and Shards of Infinity. Happy anniversary, Marty!
Happy anniversary! Hey y'all, and welcome to another episode of Rolling Dice and Taking Names, a board gaming podcast. This is episode 142, kind of a drag. My name is Marty.
And I'm Tony.
And Tony, I got to ask you a question about the song. Okay, so number one, I know what you're referring to in this, and
we'll just do you?
Yeah, well, I think I do. We'll just kind of leave that out there. I thought, okay, is he just randomly just Googling stuff now and just trying to find things that match? So I thought I had never heard of this song, Kind of a Drag, by the Buckinghams. And I went, what the heck? So I go out there and listen. It's a song from a band from the 60s. It came out in 67, and actually I knew it, but I had no clue the name of it and no clue who it was by. It's one of those songs I think that's probably used a lot, like in shows that talk about the 60s or, you know, scenes from the 60s, and I had this song in the background. That's the only reason why I would know, because it's something I would never listen to.
Actually, the reason why you think is not actually the reason why you think.
Oh, okay.
It was more around, it's kind of a drag when you play with someone who's playing and they got all poopy head.
Like you did on a game that we're going to talk about later.
That's right. It's not about the game was a drag. It's just that it's kind of a drag when someone's a poopy head. And that's where this one came from. I was like, you know, I really need to find something that describes our incredible gameplay on Thursday night where we got, Council of Four. And I was once again, and I even tweeted out the first time where I became a poopy head, and this time I was still a poopy head, and it was kind of a drag. I drug the night down, and wow. I apologize. I'm sorry.
That is quite all right. We'll get into that lengthy discussion, which actually ended up being a Scurry report, kind of a last-minute thing. It was not planned to do a Scurry report on the Council of Four, but there were so many discussion points going on that we had to do that. So, Tony, I had to look up something about this band. You know me, I like to find out a little tidbit. So this song came out 51 years ago, where the Buckinghams were one of the top acts of 1967, one of the best-selling acts of 67. Never would have guessed that. But get this, they're still touring today.
Wow. Really?
51 years later, when they had to be, I don't know, in their 20s? Yeah, and those guys reformed in 1980, and as of last year, they're still touring. Now, Wikipedia hasn't updated since then, so they may be in a rest home now.
I was just, like I said, just looking for songs, and there's also going to be a sort of an ongoing with the songs now over the next few episodes. And we're going to see if people can figure out what I'm doing without you giving too much away.
Hold on a second. So you're saying that titles of the episodes are being tied together starting when?
Now, this is the first episode where I am going to start a trend. Maybe people will figure it out, but they will still tie back to the show and how we either played the game or something like that. So there's going to be a hidden meaning in here, and we'll see what people can figure out. But this is number one, so you can't figure it out now if you even tried.
Let me make sure I understand this correctly. So every song title will somehow tie to the show, but there's an overarching strategy or overarching reason for why you're titling each of these upcoming shows. So sounds like to me, Tony, you should create a thread and see who could be the first person to get this.
I could do that. Mm-hmm.
A thread on our BGG Guild 1589. See who's the first person that can figure this out. And since they're not going to figure out this episode, maybe you and I can come up with a cool price. And now I'm kind of interested now because, guys, I have no idea what he's talking about. So I'm going to be playing along too.
And this is typical me against you, as I always just drop something in on you. But tonight, congratulations on number 25 anniversary. Wow, I hear you. I hit mine last year, so I know what you meant. Hey, what silver thing did you give her? Did you give her a silver dollar?
I don't know yet. Since
Hey, go play games. That worked well for me.
I mean, we're going out for a special meal, and we got some reservations to go out one weekend and stuff. But as of this recording, I have 1 week to come up with that special something. And as of right now, I'm not sure. By the time it's released, I'll have better come up with something.
Well, I know your wife, and let me tell you, you can bling her out, and she'll be a happy lady.
She is easy to buy gifts for. I will say that.
But I know one thing.
What's that?
Nailed it. Bam. That's right. Fireball Island, 1 hour, less than an hour. If you had started listening to the interview, boom, we nailed it, big boy. Yep, high five. Boom, right there. There it is.
Yes, on our last episode, we had Justin Jacobson and Rob Davio from Restoration Games talking about Fireball Island, and we were picking with them during the episode saying, Tony was like, well, it's already funded by the end of the episode. So sure enough, like Tony said, within the hour, the game had funded, and I actually reached out to Rob and Justin and say, well, it looks like Tony was right. And then like Justin or Rob said, well, that happens a lot, doesn't it? I was like, do you know Tony?
But congrats to them. I mean, and it's already $1 million. When that page did hit, because we didn't get to preview the page before we interviewed with them. And then they showed us the page. We got the preview, and I was like, wow. That's some professional work here. That's not something just thrown together.
And I'm still surprised that with all the work and effort that's gone into it, and they talked about that on the show, that it's only $60. You know, when we're so used to Kickstarters now being over $100, having something coming out of this quality and everything and looking like that for just $60, that's a good deal.
Well, I'm in for the 130.
I'm with you, Tony. If you're going in, go all in and get all those expansions, because I've heard from some people that got to play test the game at PAX East this past weekend. JR was there showing it off, and they had some of the expansions out, and most people were saying, look, you got to get the expansions. They said that, especially the Pirates is really good.
As they keep hitting stretch goal after stretch goal, I mean, they're upgrading the marbles, and I know Rob was very excited. He mentioned it on our show that, you know, he's got 3 more ideas in the hopper if this was successful. So he better get busy.
And they're on their way to the $5 million goal of JR getting a car.
What do you think? You think they're going to hit 2.5?
What is it right now?
I think when I looked at it earlier when we got on, it was around 1.4, but I will get us an update here. It's not like Kickstarter. It's not loaded on my stupid page. It's killing me, man.
Yeah, another big game came out too on Kickstarter too that my son is just jonesing about. My son's a huge Street Fighter fan. The guy goes and does competitions, and so he's really into that scene. Well, Jasco, in coordination with the Angry Joe Show, I don't know if you've ever watched that, Tony. It's a big YouTube channel, a couple million subscribers. He mainly does video game reviews. He and some people at Jasco designed a Street Fighter miniatures game, which I must admit looks pretty flippin' cool. The miniatures look sweet in that game. It's basically trying to mimic the fighting game. Got a couple miniatures on the board. You got some card play involved. You got some dice rolling, and you're just basically trying to knock each other out. And that Kickstarter is doing very well. It was needed to fund at $400,000. It has, and it's on its way as of today to $800,000.
So it's a race between the two. Where do you want to put your money?
I think Fireball Island will come out ahead in the end, but the thing about the Street Fighter miniatures game is it can gain momentum. With every 100,000, a new character is unlocked that will be given to backers for free. So you can see that there's probably a tipping point where it's like, I'm out, until there's like tons of new free stuff, which happens with the CMON Kickstarters, that people may jump in. It doesn't matter. My son has already told me he's got the money. He's going all in for the big $240 package.
Oh, it does. That game does look pretty. We don't know what it plays like. It may play like crap, but it looks gorgeous.
And I actually asked him that. I said, Travis, what if it doesn't play good? He says, you don't understand. He said, it's so sentimental to me, that game and those characters. Even if the game stinks, I'll always have those little figures that I can display on a shelf somewhere. And I can't fault him for that, because it's true. And he's going to get a ton of them.
And then the non-tangibles. Our good buddies over at the Secret Cabal.
I can touch them.
You can touch them?
Well, you said they're non-tangible.
Okay. The Untouchables. The Secret Cabal. I'm just going back to that movie. I can see Jamie standing in that elevator, and then the guy comes in and mows people down.
I have no clue. So Jamie's mowing people down, or Jamie's getting mowed down?
Speaking of mowing.
Okay.
Speaking of mowing.
Squirrel!
I am trying to decide between a Toro Time Master 32-inch deck mower because I've got 3/4 of an acre. And you told me think about a zero turn.
Yep.
But I had a guy come look. And he says, I can't have a zero turn because of the slope of the front yard.
If you go up and down, you can, just can't go sideways.
The problem is it's like 25 feet. So I'd have to be going up, back, and forth.
Yeah,
back
that's
and
true.
forth.
Yeah, so you're just going to get a regular lawn tractor, eh?
See, a lawn tractor, so the Toro is a walk behind. And I'm like, that's interesting. But then I'm thinking, what about the new Troy-built one that is the Flex system where you can disengage the motor from the mower deck and then put on your pressure washer and the tines for aerating.
This is really interesting radio right here.
Well, think about it, because when I was researching this
Okay.
and looking about it, there were a ton of YouTube videos, and there were these guys who said, to be completely honest, Troy-built sent us this. I'm like, that's $1,000 machine.
So wait a minute. Somewhere out there, there is a group of lawnmower enthusiasts who have a hobby and YouTube channels of reviewing lawnmower equipment, and now they get stuff sent to them. We're in the wrong one. We're doing the wrong hobby.
I saw 3 that way. Count them, 1, 2, 3. 3 guys. They all got these. So our next adventure, we're going to go into reviewing lawn equipment.
Ugh, can we do something besides lawn equipment? I mean, now that we know that people will now provide that high quality product for free, I mean, what are you going to do with a yard full of lawn equipment? I mean, you can't store it like you do board games.
You could. Maybe take up your whole garage. And, this time I'm going to mow with my Troy belt. Tomorrow I'm going to go with my Husqvarna. Hey, what about the Cub Cadet sitting over there? What do you think of that? Or, we need to get these aerators out. We need to try those. Where those trimmers, where those hedge trimmers. Do you know how I probably come back with 8 fingers with some of that equipment?
So are there podcasts on this stuff?
Yes.
Are you serious? There's a podcast talking about yard equipment.
Yard equipment and, of course, gardening. But, yeah, there's a guy out there who does a podcast on yard equipment.
Oh, my God.
Sharpening your blades, your maintenance. He's saying the same thing about us. Can you believe there's old farts talking about board games?
Is there a convention? I want to know, is there like a convention where all these people go and hang out? Is there a YouTube channel called Watch It Mode?
That would be funny. I could see that now. A guy in a plaid shirt will ride and go, coming by. He rides by on the mower. And go, yes, go ahead. I was
going to say, every piece of equipment, he shows you how it works. Basically how to use it. First, we disengage the clutch. Then we engage the blade.
Then we sit our butt down on the seat.
And we mow the yard.
And then he forgets to tell you about setup of it, of putting gas in it and oil and how long it takes to do that.
Well, not a good Watch It Mode video. It would be a high quality where the first thing they do is put the gas in and make sure there's nothing around the lawnmower, and then do it in a very professional manner, and then sign out each time with, thanks for watching.
And enjoy your mow. He better have safety glasses on.
Oh, gosh. Oh, there are so many parody skits going through my mind right now. Oh, that's funny.
And see, you got a zero turn. We could so make this happen.
Oh,
and you definitely have the plaid.
I will totally be honest. I have thought, are there other hobbyists and other things that are enthusiastic about their thing as we are in board games? I'm sure there is. But is there something like that that's so out there? And wouldn't it be funny if the lawnmower guys, the podcast, they try to entertain and be humorous? That's just one of those things I wouldn't think would be entertaining and humorous. But it could be. Well, hold on. That is incorrect, because one of the biggest shows on NPR of all time are the car guys, right? I mean, they're talking about repairing cars, and they're one of the 2 of the funniest guys on the radio.
Yes, they were.
Was it Click and Clack?
Car Talk Brothers or something.
Yeah.
I used to listen to them. Yeah.
Those guys were hilarious. And to be absolutely honest with you, Tony, early on, I listened to those guys for tips on, gosh, how can you talk about a subject that's kind of serious, but still interject humor into it and stuff. Those guys were just top notch.
There's the kitchen shows, of course. Anything like that could work. So wrapping this all up, our buddies over at the Secret Cabal, don't forget about their Kickstarter.
And back to Jamie and mowing people down from an elevator or something like that.
Yeah, see how I tie it all together?
Mowing. Oh, I see. Mowing. Now I see what the trigger point was.
So be sure to check out their Kickstarter, guys. Don't go there with me.
No, Jamie's like, he was getting, if you listen to the show, he's getting all excited. Oh, good, they're going to talk about my Kickstarter. We talk about Lawn Wars for 10 minutes, and then we just like, okay, wrap it up. Yeah, go check out their Kickstarter and go support it.
Come on. He produces a ton of content, a lot more than these lawn mowing guys. Oh, and to make it humorous, one of the guys got the pressure washer out of control. He didn't mean to, but you know what? When you use a pressure washer and you go straight on against a mower deck,
Oh, yeah.
what happens usually? It comes back in your face. Okay, well, so speaking of back to your face, Jamie at the Secret, you got the Lords of Dungeon, the RPG segment. I've been listening to, what's the new one? Oh, I can't even think of it. I listened to so many. The one where it's just him and Brian.
Bender.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And, teaching me how to be a GM for our Lord of the Rings campaign.
And he's got his weekly videos and the joke of the week with Steve.
Yes, the Friday joke with Steve. So be sure to check out that page because right now, there's just so much out there they can get lost in the shuffle.
Yeah,
great
exactly.
Guy.
And he puts out great stuff, and he's one of the leaders in this when it comes to content creation. So go help support those guys and lady.
Did I take your wind out of yourselves with the mower?
Yeah, you did. I don't even know. I'm going to throw away the show notes at this point because we're so far off track, man. Maybe we should just go review a game or something.
5-minute initiative begins in 3, 2, 1.
All right, so we got the new game from Stoneblade Entertainment, Shards of Infinity. That's right, been waiting for this game, been hearing a lot about it. Over there on the Board Game Geek, Shards of Infinity, they've been teasing with some card art that's out there. Gary Arendt and Justin Gray released it. You know Justin from Ascension, and you guys know I love Ascension because of its deck building. I play at least 8 to 10 games every night. Okay, I'll get my turns in. But this is another deck builder. But where does this stand with me in Ascension? I like it better.
Really?
Yes, it's amazing.
You play that much Ascension and you actually already like this game more than Ascension?
I do. And here's my key point to it is because like in Star Realms, this game lets you attack another player, but it's got my core mechanics that I love in Ascension. I love my constructs sitting on the table. Here you have champions sitting out on the table. You have your allies that go back into your deck. It's quick to play, but I am out there trying to defeat my opponent as well as build a strong, challenging deck that lets me do a quick combo. I also can win if I get out there and have a mastery of 30 and play a boom, there you are in your face kind of card. And I know mastery is something you like about this game.
It has your basic resource card. You start with 10 cards at the beginning of the game. Some of them have resources, some of them have attack. Just like Star Realms, use the resources to buy cards from the middle of the table, just like Star Realms and Ascension. But there's another resource called Mastery. Each of you have these player cards that tracks not only the life of the player, but also the mastery points. And you can spend one resource on your turn to increment your mastery by 1. And there's some other cards which can also increment it. But there are cards in the game that use this mastery based on the level of the mastery. For example, there may be one that says, hey, if you have 5 mastery, you're going to add 2 to your damage. If you have 10 mastery, maybe it's 4. If you got 20 mastery, maybe it's 5. It just keeps ramping up. But there's different cards for different things. Some heal when you have more mastery. Some give you more resources when you have more mastery. So it's just yet another resource to manage that doesn't exist in something like Star Realms. And Tony, to me, is more very closely related to Star Realms. Because like you said, you're trying to knock down the other person's life from, 50 down to 0. And you're trying to do the same thing here. But what's different is you talked about the constructs and the champions. Those are things that stay out on the table. Remember in Star Realms with the outpost, when the outpost came out and you did damage, you had to destroy the outpost first. And if you didn't have enough damage to knock out an outpost, basically your damage was wasted. In this game, you don't have to attack those champions first. They're out there, they give some buffs to the other person, but if you want to, you can just skip it and go straight to the person. Love that.
Another key element that I enjoy about this game is the mercenaries in it. Yeah, you got champions, you got allies, but as Marty and I both discussed when we were playing this is, man, at the end of the game, there's no reason to add more cards. You got your fine-tuned deck rolling through, but man, what to do with these resources? Well, if something appears in that market for you to buy that has a red border around it, you can buy it, use the text, and then discard it to the bottom of the market deck. It's yours. It was briefly. It was a mercenary. He came to help you do battle and destroy your opponent. That mechanic is awesome. Love that mechanic.
That is right up there actually with me with the mastery, because like you said, towards the end of the game, let's say, man, I have an ally on the table. Oh, look, there's an ally that I could use that's in the market. Well, typically when you buy from the market, it goes to your discard pile. This gives you a way to use those resources at the end, take advantage of that ally. Sure, you don't get it in your deck, but you don't need it. You need a hard-hitting card right there. Last thing that's different than Star Realms, you have this element called guard. Some of the cards have shields on them. If you have a card with a shield on them in your hand and somebody attacks you, you can show the shield to decrease the amount of damage that you would take by the number on that shield, but you don't discard the card. It just goes right back to your hand. So now you're trying to add cards from the market that also have shields on them to help block damage. Tony, this is it. This is the Star Realms killer for me. If I compare this to the base game of Ascension, the base game of Star Realms, this is my new winner right here. And I can't wait to see where they go with this game.
Oh, yeah. The expansions are planned. They're ready to come out with it. And my final thoughts on this game is it's one that if you enjoy deck builders, you enjoy the two-player aspect. Now, this can go up to 4, but there's some talk on the BGG Guild. Maybe not. Maybe it'll go too long. Either way, that's up for you to try out. It's a game for me that will definitely be on my shelf to play. And as much as Donna enjoyed Star Realms, I think this will let me take her to the next step in a deck builder.
5-minute initiative is complete.
portalgames.pl/whatever. Just go, better yet, just go over to portalgames.pl and then scroll over there and select your language. I am very excited about the upcoming scenario for Robinson Crusoe. Mystery Tour. Ignacy talked about that.
Is it a magical one?
It's not.
Oh,
because
okay.
people died on this.
Oh.
The Lost City of Z. You've heard the stories behind it. Other games have been built on. Great movie, by the way. Portal Games has got that coming out for Robinson, one of my favorite games of all time. And don't forget, he's got Detective. He's finished up the rule book on that. That game can play in 2 to 3 hours. But for me and Marty, we're talking 4 to 6 because we got to take our glasses on and off.
That's fair.
And then, of course, he's got more coming from Imperial Settlers. And don't forget to get by your local game store and ask them, hey, do you have the in-store event kit for Imperial Settlers? If not, why don't you get that for us? So that's portalgames.pl. So, Marty, just to tell you the type of guy Justin is, he has already gone out on the BGG Guild.
You're talking about Justin from...
Justin Gray from Stoneblade Blades. Come on, people, if you're listening to this episode, you
it could be Justin Timberlake. I don't know.
Did I name the show after a Justin Timberlake song?
You did not, but you've done it before.
I have. So... See, good gosh, man. You want to go talk about mowers? Let's go review a mower. So
go ahead. I'm sorry. Justin,
not Justin Gray, Justin Gary. Jeez. See, you got me all flat. Anyway.
It's Jean Grey.
Jean Grey.
That's Dark Phoenix.
Dark Phoenix, yeah. She doesn't have things that shoots out of her mind, does she?
She has things coming out of her mind.
Yes. So
Justin Gray.
Justin Gary. Justin Gary from...
Yes. Stoneblade Entertainment.
There you go. Keep going. Stay with me. Hopefully he'll still come on the show after this complete snafu. People were talking about over on the BGG Guild how maybe that the going second is a better thing because you start off with one mastery.
No, going first was a better thing.
Yeah, going first. I'm sorry. I was
there wasn't much of advantage to going second. Going first, they thought was a big deal because you could deal damage immediately and it was hard to catch up from that.
First off, in all these card games, that's one thing about a deck builder to me, Marty, is that the flip of the card can ruin your game.
Okay.
Because even in, like when I'm playing Ascension, I was playing against a guy who was just on our show recently, Justin Jacobson. See, now you know why. Now I know why you make me put names together here, because there's these Justin things going on. He decimated me in a game of Ascension. He had all these combos, but he kept getting the right card to show up in the market. Mm-hmm. The same thing can happen with all these deck builders. I don't care who the designer is. Justin Gary has come out and said, well, why don't you guys try this? That's pretty cool of him to come out and say, yeah, you just go ahead and knock yourself out.
Yeah, I think he came up with the variant. He said, look, if you feel that going first is such an advantage, let me offer you something. And it was like bidding on the mastery points you start with. Mm-hmm. Typically, you only get one when you're the second player. He said, you know what? I'm going to bid, I'll let you, is telling you, like if I was playing you, Tony, I'm going to give you 2 mastery points, let me go first. And you go, no, I'll give you 3. You let me go first. And it kind of goes back and forth till somebody takes the offer. Now, here's the thing. What's great about this game is once I'm sure it gets out and a lot of people start playing it, if there is something weird about the first player having an advantage, they'll make some sort of change. And I didn't get to say this in the 5-minute initiative, but what I love about Ascension, Tony, is the fact that for the past, 8 to 10 years, they've come out with all these expansions, added these new elements. While Shards of Infinity is basic in its form right now, there's enough design room in that game to add so many elements. They can make each of the players have special powers and give them special abilities, and they add new mechanics and new allies and new champions. There's a lot of life in this game. The base game is not the end of it. Just like Ascension, I think this game is going to be around for a while.
And when Ascension's art turned you off, this art, you didn't mind, did you?
No, I like this art. I really enjoyed it. It was one of the big turnoffs from Ascension the first time I played it. I just couldn't get by some of the art, and art is subjective. I understand that, but no, the art didn't bother me at all in this game. So yeah, that was cool that that Justin's looking at the community and see what's going on and providing feedback directly to those that are playing the game right now.
We got too many J's going on. Justin, Jason, Justin. Tell you what, why don't we get over to where we got people's names that we know? How about Nate and Mark from the Scurry Report? They're ready to cut loose on Council of 4.
We are so excited to have the Scurry Report again. We have our Scurry Reporters, which is Tony and myself, plus Nate Bivens and Mark Kell. Guys, welcome back.
Hey. Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
First one was Mark. Second one was Nate.
Now, for those who've listened to this before, we explained what the purpose of the Scurry Report was. The idea was to take a game and its epicness or some sort of big game and really dive deep into it. And the game we're going to talk about tonight wasn't even on the radar for this, Tony. This was just going to be a quick little Euro game that we were going to play. And afterwards, we talked about this game for like 30 minutes.
Yep.
Okay, so you already know Tony's feelings on the game. I'm talking about the game that's coming out in late May from CMON, Council of 4. This is a game that had been released. They're re-releasing it with some new art and everything. It's designed by Simone Luciani and Danielle Tassini.
Sure.
That's not bad.
That works marvelous.
Here's the thing about this game. I got to play this, guys, at the CMON Expo last year. And Nate, I think you got to demo it too, right?
Yep, I got to demo it as well. It looked a little different, but the mechanics were similar. So
it's a really straightforward game in that you've got this nice map and you got some merchants that you're going to put on the board into cities. And when you put them into cities, you get a little bonus. The really cute thing about it is when you put a merchant to a city, if it's connected to another city with one of your merchants, you get to activate that bonus again. So coming out of the box, I explained this to you guys. Oh, this is a really cool game about building combos and building a really cool engine. And that's the path that we went down.
Yeah, the first game I played, I was doing these combos, and I could see from y'all's faces that I was doing something really cool. It felt fun to trigger those combos. I'm building this engine. I'm gathering these resources.
Wait. That's the path y'all went.
That's true. Mark, you did not, in all the games we played, you weren't running the combo engine. You weren't doing the cool thing. Your turns were over very quickly.
Yeah, I just went and placed a guy and went on next guy. Job's done.
And that's where the point of contention came in with this game.
Yep.
Because we were having these epic, and I did it at night. I was having the epic turns tonight. I was activating guys all over the place, generating tons of resources, but I ended up coming in third because after we played the game, it seemed like the game was more of maybe an area control game, because when you control certain spots on the board, you control some of the same colors or same regions, you get a bonus tile, and those bonus tiles are huge victory points.
I noticed that right from the beginning. When we first started playing it the first time, we have played it twice. We'll explain why later. But when we played it the first time, I was like, okay, well, I don't really know what I'm doing, but I know that looks like a lot of points. So I'm going to do that thing.
Yeah, so the top Queen's bonus tiles were 25 points. And Marty, I actually think it's not really as much of an area control game as a race.
Okay.
You're racing to get the top Queen's bonus tile that's worth 25 points. The second Queen's bonus tile is worth like 17 or 18 points, and it goes down exponentially from there. So it's really a race to collect the first set bonus, or the first tile, basically, to give you that first bonus tile.
And like I said at the beginning, to get those tiles, you have to have a merchant in the same color cities. Some of them only have, like, there's only 2 blue cities, but there's 5 yellow cities. So while it does take longer to get the 5 yellow cities taken care of, it's worth a lot more victory points. But Mark, in his infinite wisdom, says, wait a minute, I can just put a dude in the blue city and a dude in another blue city. Yeah, it's only worth 5 points, but that first Queen's reward tile is worth 25, instant 30 points.
That's right. Blue is my favorite color. I love blue. I mean, it just is so good to me.
Mark, I don't think anybody's ever said your name and infinite wisdom in the same
It's
sentence.
like, where did that come from? I don't hear that.
Okay, so 3 of us are talking about this game. There's one person we've yet to hear from.
Yeah, it feels like somebody's missing from this.
Where's Waldo? I mean, Tony.
He's just grumpy.
Tony, what do you think about this game?
That's why I'm being quiet.
Oh, come on. All right, let's be fair.
I am being fair.
Oh, okay.
I mean, the only reason why you brought them on is so that you would have ability to gang up against me.
No, I don't think it's. I don't think it's
gang up because I do share some of your opinions on this game.
I have more negatives than I do positive. I mean, a lot of people, as they know, this is a reprint, and a lot of people are upset that they got rid of the council falling off the bench as you push them. To me, that's probably the funnest part of this game,
which now no longer exists.
Which no longer exists.
Yeah, the whole mechanic of this game.
Wait a minute, and I never got to play that old version, but now I want to see if there would be any fun for me in this game.
Wow!
Oh my God!
Shots fired.
So I'm sorry. I mean, but you go ahead, Marty. Try to explain the rules. So
No, I'm not gonna.
Victory. By the way, most victory points wins. Woohoo! We got that out the way.
It just so happens that we talked about the biggest victory points. We talked about Mark generating a 30-point move, basically, with collecting those 2 tiles. Some of the action that you get on the board are just basically extra victory points, but they're only 1s and 2s, right?
Yeah.
So you're not going to get a lot out of those. Now, you can activate it multiple times. So let's say you had a merchant in one city that had 2 victory points. You built in a city beside of it, you get to activate it again, another 2. So you keep triggering that multiple times, and that you felt like that was the goal of the game. The whole council thing that Tony was talking about, each region has 4 council members of different colors. And at the beginning of the game, you're given 6 cards with different colors, and your goal is to discard cards that matches the color of the council that's sitting in that region, and you can claim a building permit which has a letter on there that explains where you can build, and that's how you get your guys out on the board. And then from there you start building your engine.
I understand what you're saying, but to clarify, there's only 5 colors, but it's different combos of the colors.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, so it's not like there's a rainbow of colors out here on the board. It's purple, gray, blue, brown, and green, and they're just mixed up on the board, but it's all that.
And the council members are these, they're cool minis.
Yeah.
Yeah. The servants or not.
No, that's the or not portion.
Those are apprentice. Remember, in the old rules, they were called apprentice. But either way, you need them because they're very valuable, because if you don't play certain rules correct.
They were.
Well, I'm just saying.
Well, and I did want to say that I want to make sure everybody knows that there are more than one bonus tile that you can get. And it's not, like the first one's 30, the next one can be 27, the next one can be 23, 24.
No, it goes down quicker than that. I think that was I think it was 25, then 18, 12, and 7. Those are the Queen's rewards. Right now, if you control all in one region, it's worth 5 points. You got those 2 blues, which is worth 5. If you get all 5 yellow merchants placed out there, that is worth 12. But I think that would be tough to get 5 merchants out there and claim that first Queen's reward, because if you could do that, that would be a runaway leader condition.
Right, yeah. And that kind of speaks to what I see as like the 2 main strategies that we discussed in this game is the race to try to get that high Queen's bonus first, versus putting your merchants close to each other and having the combo engine go off over and over and over again, which is a lot of fun. And those are kind of the 2 paths that you can try to do both, but generally when we played, you either go one or the other in the game. And we have found, it seems like that those race points to get the queen's bonus has been largely first and second place both times. If you try to do the fun thing of the combo engine, that's usually been the third and fourth place person both games that we played.
So in the first game, you were the combo guy. I think you ended up third.
I think I ended up third, just like you.
In this one, I was the combo guy, and I got third. I got one of the queen's bonuses. Tony, you got one, right? And Mark, you got the big one, and Nate, you got two of them.
Yeah.
But the big one was huge, and that's one of the things that we said, okay, maybe we need to talk about this in a little segment, because we thought, is the queen's reward points too high?
Exactly. And the way I look at it is, from a game design standpoint, I look at any bonus and how it relates to a final score. So the queen's bonus is 25 points. Mark did very well in this game, and you probably deserve to win. But your point total was 77 total points. And 25 of that was getting to that queen's bonus one turn before the idea.
Plus the additional 5, so it was really
Right.
30. And that was the least you could get with the queen's,
That's
that
right.
highest queen's bonus.
Right.
So almost half of your points, or just under half, was from the one move.
Oh, see, I see how this is. Mark wins every single time.
And
there must be something wrong
Right.
with the game.
So that's why I got to sit there and talk about the design of this game, because how is it possible for Mark to win not once, but twice? No, Nate won this time.
No, Mark won this
You
time.
won the second time again.
Not only
wanna
did
say-
you win twice, Mark, you won using the same approach, though. In both games, you got the first queen's bonus and blue, and you won both games.
And blue.
Yeah,
The two blue cities,
sorry.
which
Yeah.
is the quickest
No,
way
but-
to earn the
but
first
it
queen's
wasn't the
bonus.
same, because last time I didn't really have any engine
Right.
going on the board.
You
All
didn't-
I did was collect the bonus tiles and a couple little things here and there.
That's right. You played better this game, but everybody else did as well.
Right,
But you
yeah,
won
exactly.
both games, and you got the same bonus both games.
And it's like I said earlier, is I felt a whole lot like I did a lot more this game to get the win than I did last game.
Agreed. Yeah. But everybody did better. Tony last game finished with like 20 points. You did. I mean, you were a
Points don't matter.
No, hold on. So how many points did you get off the rewards?
32.
And you got a total of 32. And what was
Yeah.
your final score?
47.
47. So most of it came from that race, right? Mine was a 7, adding up, but mine was 20. 20 of my 63 was from the rewards. And Nate, you got a lot.
Yeah, it looks like 40 of my like 70 points were from those bonus.
So in every condition, almost or just under half
Yeah.
came from getting those rewards. And I think that's what we want to talk about, because when you sit down and explain the game, the first thing that comes to mind is engine builder.
Yep.
I want to quickly trigger my guys as frequently as often, and that's not really the way to win the game.
Right, and that's exactly right, and that's what we were talking about it, and I was saying that I was really surprised in the last game. Nate's engine was so good, and he was, almost every turn he was triggering once and maybe twice in a turn, and I had gotten ahead, but I was expecting him to just jet around me because he had this good engine, and I had nothing, and it just didn't never happen.
Another issue kind of that compounds things with the scoring is you're going for, having all the yellow cities or all the blue cities. There's only one bonus tile for that. And so several times throughout the game, you're going to find a frustration point, I think. If you and another player are going for that color matching, somebody's going to lose out and get 0 points, where the other player will get from 5 to 20 bonus points. And 5 to 20 points is the whole game.
And did you say a frustration point?
It is. It is at least one of the frustration. It's actually my biggest frustration
Because
point.
the way you
in the
made it
game.
sound like you'll have a frustration point.
All right. So Tony, I know that was one of your frustration points. What was another one of your frustration
well, I mean,
points?
let's okay.
Was it when I moved the queen and then you couldn't get that big last turn?
That's not it. That was not a frustration point. Let's look at it from my standpoint. What are the pros of this game to you guys? If you were to try to convince me that I should like this game, that this game is fun, because y'all all said this game's fun, and I'm like, I've had fun and this ain't it. Tell me where the fun is.
For me, it was the engine building thing. I like games like 51st State, and I like games Imperial Settlers, where it starts slow, but at the end, I've got this thing where if I can click one little thing, a lot of things happen.
Okay.
So that's what drew me to the game, and that obviously was if I do that better than everybody else, I will win this game, and I think that's what shocked me.
Yeah, exactly. The other cool thing that I think this game allows you to do, it allows you to feel clever. I get to put together some combos using my servants and my gold and my cards and combo that into some cool things that translate on the board. I get to turn things in. I get to generate resources. All those are fun actions in a game like that.
And I think there's some suspense to it too that adds to the fun. Just like one of my turns that I got one of the blues, I was expecting to be able to get the tile to do it, but I was taking a chance because I had to wipe the tiles and get 2 new tiles. I may or may not have gotten what I needed. It just happens that I did, and I also was able to take another action that turn to go ahead and place the blue. So I like the suspense.
Okay. So from the engine building to the
Clever gameplay.
Clever gameplay.
Yep.
Did it outweigh the negatives that you might have felt during that or the frustration?
I think this is the greatest game ever. I don't have anything negative to say about it.
There's no luck. It's all strategy.
Yeah, it's all
Yeah.
strategies.
Yeah.
I mean, anybody that can master it's a mastermind. I mean, it's great.
And that's exactly all these colors made me think of Mastermind.
Now, I think that is a built-in point of frustration that's meant to be there. So you have these council members, and then you finally, I've got the 4 matching council members for the region that I want. One of the actions you can do on your turn is switch up the council. You take one of the colored council members off that's sitting off the board, sitting on the left-hand side, and push down so the one on the right falls off. And you sit there and say, come on, I finally got the combination I needed, and somebody changes it. I think that's meant to be that way to create a sense of frustration between players.
Yeah, I don't think it's meant to create a sense of frustration, but that allows for player interaction. There's several player interaction points in the game, and yes, I can mess you up on the council. You can still take the action you planned. It'll probably just cost you more. And so that's part of the efficiency thing. I'm hurting your efficiency engines. There are other ways to do that. If I place in a city before you do, you have to pay an extra servant to place in that city. So again, I'm interacting with you and costing you efficiency. So I don't think I got a little frustrated in this game when that happened, but that's also a way to put player interaction in the game.
But you had fun.
I did have quite a bit of fun. I also had quite a bit of frustration. And that's where I side with Tony. This is definitely not a everybody against Tony thing. I have a rosier picture of this, but
Mark's like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
This is the best game ever.
yeah, so I side with Tony. I have a rosier picture than he does, but there definitely was frustration. Whether, that outweighed the fun. I would play this game again. I definitely would not buy this game again. And I might even hesitate, to play it a lot more.
As a designer, Mark, you've designed games too. What would you tweak to say, okay, this is what needs to happen to make this a game that I would play more often?
Obviously, this game is good because they remade it the way it was. I'm just so.
Yeah, I don't think they changed many of the rules from what I understand. I looked at the old rule book.
Well, there's a couple of things that we talked about. One would be a little bit easier access to cards. Maybe being able to spend gold to get extra cards. It would definitely speed up the gameplay just a little bit. That would be a good one. Another one we talked about is getting some bonus points at the end of the game for resources that you have left over. So like if you've got dudes left over, because the thing about the game is the way it works is more than likely you're going to trigger on your last turn. And when you trigger, you get all this stuff. So you have all this stuff that you're never going to be able to do anything with because you're not going to get another turn. So it would be nice to be able to get a little bit of something.
Convert that gold and the servants you got at the end for a little bit of like 3-to-1 ratio or something like that. Yeah.
Nothing too good, but just a little bit of something.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And for me, it's all about those bonus tiles and kind of the in-game scoring. That's really, the rest of the game has a lot of fun in it and is very well designed. But for me, I want to motivate players with victory points to do the cool things in the game. And right now, the combos don't give you enough points, which are ultimately all that matters, to do the fun things in the game. Really, you should almost ignore adjacency a little bit and go for the race for the bonus tiles. And so to combat that, I would like the Queen's bonus tiles curve needs to be evened out a ton. And then also I would put second and third place points on the color matching cities as well. Because Tony and I were racing to get the yellow, which is worth 20 points. I was one turn behind him. He got it. He got 20 points. I get 0 points. And some of that effort I spent, several turns, was wasted. And that doesn't feel good. I had fun doing it, but then the payoff is 0.
But once again, the game's been around. It's being brought. You can redesign it all you want. We can redesign every game. I guess my point is, if that would have been the case, they would have done that. So it really doesn't, matter.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. Obviously, people sat down and tested and played this game, and they're
For a long
very
time.
happy with the way that it is, and that's cool. It's just that the way the game was presented to me, the way I presented it to y'all, it was like, cool, let's make some combos. Mark was smart enough to realize, well, yeah, that's awesome, but there's like
There it goes
25
again.
points right there, plus another 5 for just putting guys out in 2 cities. Come on.
Yeah, and I think actually Tony is right. Like these decisions we're talking about were clear design decisions. What the problem is, in my opinion, is player expectation, which is what you're talking about. You sit down and you learn the game, and it seems to be about this combo engine and an engine building game. And I really think it's more of a race game. So if you're teaching the game, if you get the game, I would definitely point out the race aspects of the Queen's bonus things. Maybe if the expectations of the game are set better, people will have more fun.
So I was just looking at the board, and at the end of the game, if Marty triggers his whole line, he gets 10 victories.
Yep.
And he's worked the whole game to be able to do that 10 victory point. Now, granted, he can do it more than once if he's lucky. Well, no, he wouldn't be able to do it more than once, more than likely, because that's all 10 of his guys on the board.
And that triggers the end of the game. The first one to get their 10 merchants out on the board, that triggers game in.
Right. So I got 30 points. What it's going to take him the end of the game to try to get close to that. Basically.
And I think that's a good point. There's a lot of variability in this game because when you first set it up, there's the little bonus tokens that go in each city are randomly placed. So at the beginning of every game, after the tokens are flipped over and you see where they are, you kind of decide if there was a bunch of victory point tokens that happen to be beside each other, sure, it would make sense to build there as fast as possible and just keep triggering that over and over again. My strategy this time was a lot of the bonuses that give you extra servants, which are good for your optional actions. Everybody gets one main action at the beginning of the turn: getting a permit, changing the council, putting a merchant out. There's some optional ones that allow you to buy another servant, or switch out the permits by paying one servant, pay one servant to switch a council, or pay 3. And this was, I thought, was important to me. Pay 3 servants to take a second main action. So at the beginning of the game, when I saw these cities connected, just generating servants left and right, I did that. And guys, I took 2 main actions most of the game, and it still didn't help. I thought, okay, if Mark gets the 30, fine. But I'm taking 2 actions every single turn while you guys aren't. Didn't help.
Yeah, and that's where I really feel like those expectations come in. Like you see that engine, like you were able to see those pieces of the engine before the game started. And you were like, oh, you get excited. You're like, oh, this is going to be fun. I'm going to do boom, 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 do these combos. And that's just not where the points lie. It's a fun game, but you're not going to win doing it.
And for me, and we haven't even gotten to my biggest negative. And
Let's do it.
Let's do it. The analysis paralysis.
Yeah.
And not being able to plan outside of your turn. And let's face facts. I mean, we're not the greatest board game players in the world. Even I don't care what we think of ourselves. Victory points don't matter. That doesn't make you a great game player, but winning, Mark.
Yeah, Mark's pointing at his character. That's been in the lead 2 games, so
that don't make you a great game player. But we're sitting here. I can't do anything because even on my last turn, I had a great move planned. I was going to generate about 10 victory points, and you changed one thing, and it wrecked everything else I was going to do for my turn, which made me sit here and think, okay, is there any way for me to generate that? And this was occurring throughout the entire game. There were we could have all easily have eaten a dinner, gone potty a couple times in between turns.
I think we did.
I know we did. It was very, and I think my level of frustration builds the longer I'm waiting for people to play, and to that extent,
we know.
I mean,
when Tony gets up and starts pacing around the table, it's like, here comes Grumpy Tony.
Yeah. I mean, but so what am I doing here? I'm doing set collections to build an engine. I look at Mark's shelves. I got plenty of set collection engine builders over there that I can put on the table that doesn't create the AP that I have in this game.
I can't argue there was AP, and you're absolutely right. Once my turn was done, I didn't need to really look at the board anymore until about maybe your turn, Tony, who was right before me, because the council members could change in the region. The permits available could change, and I think that was 2 of the biggest things that could really mess you up. Or the queen can move. There's one operation where the queen can move around the board, and wherever she is, if you activate that council for the color combination for her, you could drop a person there. I think that's what messed you up in the end. So yeah, when it wasn't our turn, we were just sitting there talking with each other. We weren't looking at the game. We weren't looking at our cards. And it's funny. You made a good comment about the beginning of a turn, you get to draw a card, which is basically just a color that can match a council member. You recommended, why not draw that at the end of your turn so you could at least somewhat plan to the next one?
Yeah, I think that's an unfortunate part of this game. Definitely is the AP. I think drawing at the end of the turn would help, but that wouldn't alleviate all the problems. Tony, you talked about at the end of the game or during the game that this sort of reminds you of a Ticket to Ride. It would be like if you had to play Ticket to Ride, but the route colors on the map changed from turn to turn,
which is the France map.
Right. Okay. I had not played that.
Sorta.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah, so imagine you're playing Ticket to Ride, you're collecting your hand of cards, and then you don't know what route colors are until your turn starts, and then you can evaluate the board. That's always a weakness in games, in my opinion, that have turns that you can't plan ahead for.
I mean, Potion Explosion has a tremendous amount of AP, but at least the clicking of marbles is entertaining, even if it's not your turn. Am I being grumpy because it's just part of my nature of
I think
the
he's
game?
being grumpy because he lost twice, but that's just me. And that's why Mark is so happy, because he won twice.
I mean, a little bit of AP is fine, right? I mean, you need to be able to get up and go to the bathroom. You need to have some chit chat. I mean, there's nothing wrong with this game. I don't know why y'all keep on with it.
No, but you talk about, am I grumpy because I lost it? No, I already said losing in a game. I mean, basically winning and losing in board games now for me, I don't even factor that in.
Yeah,
Do you not? Because you gave Gaia Project some negative comments because he was like, "Oh, they're not even doing this game, and I'm just not getting up at the end."
Hold on.
No.
If Tony got grumpy every time he lost the game, he would never like the game.
I'd be grumpy the whole time.
Never see that.
No, you never see me on that. And I don't. That's fine.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding with you.
But-
No, and you were consistent in the two games. You said I have a couple issues with this game. And if we sat down and played it a third time, you'd probably have the exact same issues.
Yes, I mean, I had a full house all the time of colors.
I did that too.
That is a useless thing. I've got 3 greens and 2 blues, and I mean, it'd take us too long to say what was wrong with that in this game.
Well, it's just because it matches none of the council that's out there.
And
But
then
you can mitigate that with
No,
money.
you can't.
Yes, you can.
No, you can't.
You can mitigate it with money.
How?
By spending money. When you don't have a full set, you spend money to make the set.
Right? But how do you get money?
By moving council members in that you need.
But what if all the council members are in different locations? Then they're not
Then
back
you
here
move
where you
that
can.
location, then you move this location.
Oh, and turn after turn, where it is. What type of gang did Nate just say it was?
Then it won't take you long to take your turn. You want AP.
I agree with you. I completely agree with you from a push.
I can't argue with that, Tony. I had a full house one time too. And what are we talking about? It's 3 of one color, 2 of another, right? But we told you there's 6 different combinations of these council members that can be out anytime. If you took 2 or 3 turns to get the colors that you need, Nate, you said this is a racing game. You're behind.
And then he just stated, "Oh, well, you can move the council to get what you want." Guess what? By the time it gets back around to me, where's the council?
It could be changed
They
again.
probably got changed.
Here's the thing. We came in knowing Mark had the strategy of capturing the 2 blues and get 25. None of us stopped him.
We couldn't.
We saw him doing it again, and boom. Well, also, does it not help too? You kind of do have some luck at the beginning with those first 6 cards. If it happens to matches the council member of maybe one of those blue, you come out of the gate, boom, I can get a permit and put a guy there right now.
It is true. However, the one thing that I don't know if we mentioned is between first and second place was a 5-point spread.
Yes, that's true.
And my last turn, Tony was talking about AP. I mean, I AP'd for a good while because I was like, okay, I need to eke out another 2 or 3 points in order to get in front of Nate because he triggered the end game.
Yeah. And I don't mind that you're AP at the end. I really don't. I did want to shove a council member somewhere. When you changed the Queen's Council, which decimated mine, but I have no problem. That last play, I have no problem with AP on the last play. Right. I have problem continuously.
I get it.
You know, there's technically, you know, at minimum, if you as efficient, there's only 10 rounds in this game. But I know there's more.
Well, it's probably more because you're probably not placing every turn.
Yeah, plus or minus 10.
Yeah, plus or minus 10, plus or minus. But either way, you're right. So for me, this game is a great strategy game. I think not strategy. What did we use?
A racing game.
A racing game. No, you and I talked about, is it really a strategy game or is it
Complex.
It's a complex game.
I think it does have some more complexity than, say, a Ticket to Ride or an other like Euros.
I will never fault it. This is a very complex. How do I maximize, make efficiency out of my engine while maintaining the console?
That's not it. We just talked about it. It's not about building the engine.
Well, your engine to generate that so that you can put it and claim the 2 blues.
I know people are going to listen to this and say, "Come on, guys! I've played this game, and the person who got the 2 blues and the extra 25 points never wins the game. I won because of ABC."
Right. Yeah.
But it's just hard not to see that big 25-point tile sitting over there as a low-hanging fruit.
Yeah.
If you go after, if it's not the 2 blue, then maybe it's the 3. There's one that only has 3 orange. Yeah. Maybe you get the 3 orange and get that instead. Regardless. You're going to grab one of those low matching number of colored cities to try to grab that 25 points. And then it really is a race. And here's one more thing before I forget. You talked about AP. They say on this box, this game is only supposed to take 40 to 70 minutes. That is not true.
Is that 40 minutes per player?
Yeah. It's 2 to 4 players, and the box says 40 to 70. There's no way we'd finish an hour, 10 minutes.
So I'll say, like, kind of in terms of my wrapping up thoughts, at least based on my plays, part of the reason I've talked so much about this game, I mean, now we've talked about this game for an hour probably between the end of the last play and this play.
And online chatting with each other, too.
Absolutely, through Slack and stuff. It's because I actually see so much fun in running the combo and in the resource and engine generation part of this game. Like, while I'm playing the game, I have a lot of fun if I'm not thinking about winning and the points. But then in the end, that's where some of those frustration points come in and how the bonus tiles are scored. So ultimately, it's a really fun game, parts of it, but it also has a lot of frustration for me.
All kidding aside about me winning twice, which I did.
Amazing. Blind squirrel can find an acorn every once in a while.
At least twice.
At least twice.
I do think that the bonus tile needs some adjustments somehow because I think they're overpowered. I mean, at this point, I almost feel like a one-trick pony. I mean, if somebody brings this game out, that's how, and if I want to win, that's how I'm going to do it. I'm going to try to take those bonus. So I do think that needs some help. But all in all, I enjoyed the game.
And regardless of what I said about frustration, AP, I will play it again because the game pisses me off beyond anything, just from the frustration factor and saying that I cannot play this game as poorly as I did. And if it comes out again and I play it as poorly as I did next time, then
Tony, if we're going to play another game right now, Gaia Project or Council of Four?
It'd be Council of Four because I don't think I have enough time to play Gaia Project.
Yeah, but just in general.
In general. And I would look at you and say, oh, you want to play a fun engine builder? Hey, Mark, break out 51st State over there on your shelf.
That wasn't the question.
I know that's not the question. I'm going to give you a C for me. But yeah, Marty.
Choose C. Tony's an idiot.
Choose C. Tony's an idiot. Huh? What?
From Grumpy Tony to Political Tony.
Yeah, see.
All right, so this is Council of Four that's going to be coming out. I think it's May 21st. It's around the end of May. I was so excited when I got to play it last year at CMON Expo. I thought this is really cool. Can't wait for it to come out. I got you guys to the table. I still had a fun experience. But yes, to all of us, I think there's some tweaks in the game that can make it a little bit tighter to emphasize the combo portion more as opposed to the race. But here's the thing. That's just our opinion, everyone. Obviously, if you get a chance to play it, do so. It's an easy game to learn. It really is. It can be taught in 5 minutes easily, and then you're off and running. Do expect some AP, and at Nate's recommendation, it's a racing game. Look where you can score the most points the quickest and try to go there first.
Go blue.
Okay, guys, I got to apologize for the amount of grumpiness, and I forgot to caution you going into the Scurry report.
Was he grumpy? That was recorded several days ago with Nate and Mark. And have you calmed down since then?
I've thought about it. Thought a little bit more about it.
We've got all your stuff that you said, and it's now out there in the ether for everybody to hear. And now you want to say, I've changed my mind. Is that what you're saying?
That ain't going to happen.
Oh, okay.
I don't want people to think that I think it's a bad game. That is far from it. It's just not a game for me.
Yep.
But I will play it. If you put that on the table, I will always play that game with you. But caution, buyer beware. There could be some poo-poo headedness flowing near the end of that game.
I think the point of all of us was, everybody likes to play games to where there's like multiple paths to victory, right?
Yeah.
And we just think we found the really easy path. And that may not be the case. There may be a lot better paths, but we definitely found one that's viable, that's pretty quick to do. Obviously, you can guard against it, right, Tony?
Yes. Yeah, you can guard against it.
If everybody's going after those 2 blue cities in order to get that first token, then everybody's going to be doing it. But then, like we said, somebody may get screwed because what happens if it just so happens their opening hand happens to match exactly what they need to get that right, building permit in place to grab a city real quick, then people need to change their strategies quick and go to something else.
Is it a game that I will put on the shelves? Like I said, no, but I will always play this game. Who knows? I might end up liking it.
Well, we'll play it some more and hopefully you will.
Yeah, I learned to like spicy food, so miracles can happen.
Speaking of spicy, how about spacey? Because we got to try another game right after that I think you was a little bit more, that you warmed up to a little bit more.
5-minute initiative begins in 3, 2, 1.
AEG has just released a brand new game called Space Base from designer John D. Clare, who you may know from not only Mystic Vale, but Edge of Darkness, which was just on Kickstarter. This game is kind of like Machi Koro on steroids. It's a little bit meatier in the fact that you have these cards that are enabled by dice rolls. Now, Tony, this is one of those things I told you. I said, guys, I could probably teach you this game in 5 minutes or less. Was I not successful in doing that?
Yes, you definitely did that in 5 minutes or less, unlike the game we talked about in Scurry Report where it took you about 2 hours.
Okay, we're beyond that.
Oh, yeah,
We're
fine.
that.
My bad. Yes, you taught it to us in a little bit, but rolling dice, you had me at rolling dice.
Sure. And that's what a lot of people enjoy is the dice mechanic of this game. Everybody starts with the player board and you have 12 ships numbered 1 through 12 or slots 1 through 12. These basic starter ships can give you like a resource or maybe a victory point or maybe increase your income. On your turn, real simple, you roll 2 dice. You could take the sum of those dice and activate that 1 card slot, or split them and activate 2 different slots. So for example, if I roll a 5 and a 3, I can activate the 8 slot or activate the 5 and a 3 slot. When I'm done, I hand the dice to the person to my left and they go. Tony, that's it.
Guess what, Marty?
What?
It's a game about victory points.
It is.
You've got to have economy to generate the ability to buy cards, and you got to figure out what are my probabilities of certain dice to come up. But that splitting mechanism is so key because who knows how you want it. Because maybe you got a primo card in the 8 slot, but you also got one in the 4 slot, and you're like, oh, I just rolled double 4s for an 8. Ooh, which one do I want? And the ability to have an action sit there, get ready to be used. Oh, I just rolled this card, and this card says that if I put a cube there, I can use it later. Mm-hmm. Wow, that was building up a combo. Watch it happen. I've got a little engine going here. My engine was trying to get victory points, and I came in third. Didn't help me too well, but okay, no, that was all right. But I learned a lot from that because there's so many ways to get to the end game.
Yeah, but here's the thing. We hadn't even talked about the best part of the game, which is my favorite, is there's very little downtime. Because no, the rest of the people just aren't watching somebody roll their dice because I did not mention at the end of your turn, you have the option to take any resources that you've garnered so far and buy a card from the market in the middle of the table. They have different levels, level 1, 2, and 3, with 3 being the most expensive and obviously the most powerful. But you could take one of those cards and replace one of the existing cards in your slot. For example, if I buy a card that's supposed to be in the 5th slot from the market, I take the existing card in that slot, turn it upside down, and flip it underneath the board, because when I turn it upside down, it has a red ability on it. The blue ability is when I roll the die. The red ability is when maybe, Tony, you roll the die. So let's say that I have a card that's under my little 4 slot that would generate 1 coin. And let's say that you rolled those double 4s, Tony. As you're deciding what you're going to do, because I have cards in that slot, I can activate that card slot twice and grab a couple tokens. That is the mechanic that sold me on this game.
But it got a little confusing at one time because you were saying that, hey, when you're rolling and I can use those die, but then became, oh, wait a minute, what are the colors up there? The red, what's the it kind of got a little confusing there, but you straightened me out.
No, it didn't. It did not get confusing. I said blue, you, red, somebody else.
But if it's flipped up at the top, when can I use it?
Well, if it's flipped up upside down, you're only going to see the red part anyway.
Well, I could have sworn there was some blue up there, but it was actually green.
Yes, there's green.
Okay, well, you didn't mention green, did you?
No, but what's cool is, Tony, is that over the course of the game, let's say I replace that slot in my card in my 4 slot multiple times, and then I have a stack of cards underneath my board. So if you roll that double 4 again, I'll get to activate each of those cards twice. By the end of the game, you're doing more on other people's turns than you're doing on your own. And the whole purpose, Tony, like you said, is a lot of those cards generate victory points. The first person to get to 40 victory points will trigger the end of the game. And then after you go one more round, whoever has the most wins.
If you can see this game in the store, sit down, get a play, quick to learn. I really enjoyed it. It had the dice rolling mechanic that I enjoy. I like the ability of building a quick little engine. Great game to play. Marty, final thoughts?
My family loved it. Vanessa loved it. Travis loved it. So all different types of gamers have loved this game. Staying on my shelf. This replaces Machikoro for me. I had a lot more fun playing this game. That's Space Base from AEG. Go check it out now.
5-minute initiative is complete.
If you're not a part of the Miniature Market mailing list, you need to be. Tony, are you a part of the Miniature Market mailing list?
Yes, I am, because I always check for those daily deals, Marty.
And those daily deals go quick, Tony, if you ain't quick. Those daily deals go quick if you ain't quick. That's really good English there, Tony.
Why don't you try that again, Marty?
Those daily deals go fast, so you need to be quick.
Or clicky clicky.
So make sure to join the Miniature Market mailing list so you can see all the latest deals, not just daily deals, but the constantly running specials. And remember to go to our website and click on the Miniature Market logo where you can get a special promo code that you can use on your next order. So go check them out at miniaturemarket.com.
It would not be a show if we didn't have a contest. I'm tired of them. I'm tired of having set up a raffle copter. I'm tired of doing a form, Marty.
That's why I like doing contests, just to ruffle your feathers.
Go set up this raffle copter. Are you sure you wanted to say this? Oh, man, look at that form. You misspelled that. You didn't get the right information there. Why aren't you requiring these? Go edit. Go do something useful. Don't sit here and irritate me.
So what are we giving away? Gosh,
we're giving away a lawnmower. No, I'm kidding. We're not giving away a lawnmower.
You still ain't got over Council of 4 yet.
I talked about recently Age of Rivals, the new little deck builder that is out for Android and iOS
and Steam.
Mm-hmm. I said Steam.
I know, because I finally got a copy of it and I'm playing with you now.
So Age of Rivals, they were kind enough. Roboto Games was kind enough to give us 3 keys. Three, right there.
Three. Count them.
Yeah, count them. 3 keys.
4 is right out. Thou shalt not say 2 unless proceeding to 3.
Okay, we're going Monty Python. I thought you were going to go Seinfeld on me, and I was going to be like, just never mind.
No. See, you got this reference.
I got that reference. So we are going to give away Rafflecopter. Going to Rafflecopter again. It's going to be in the blog, the link. We're going to make you click on a bunch of buttons, clicky, and you're going to need to go out there, and then we will give away 3 keys, and you'll need to tell me the keys that you want as part of the Rafflecopter.
So either Android, iOS, or Steam.
And I will be giving you those keys. Now, I must warn you, because I've found this out. If you have an iPad that is first generation or second, and it hasn't updated to iOS 10 yet, which it won't ever because they stopped supporting it, which I found out.
Then you might not want to clickety.
You may want to find something else to get with it, like an Android or a Steam key, because your iOS non-10 software release, if it's not there, you ain't going to load that game. Plain and simple. Look for the Rafflecopter over in our blog. Go there. 3 keys. That'll happen in the coming show. You will have But I will say one thing, Marty. Rafflecopter lets me put a dead end on it. I like that. You've got till X time. I like that. It shuts it down. I don't have to wake up at midnight and click turn off form. It does it for me.
I like to see like this as an actual card game.
That would be neat. I think as a an app, all the fiddliness of the card saying, okay, whenever you play an army, you get to add +3 to the victory points or plus the armor. For every ally that you have or every attacker he has, your defense can go up by 2. They've still got a few little minor things they're working on. I know that because I did find a bug when I got decimated so bad by the computer, it froze on me. That was funny. So, and I still yet to beat the challenge mode. I'm really trying. And I did say something wrong that I said you could buy the coins. No, you got to earn the coins. There's no buying coins.
So no microtransactions.
No microtransactions on this game. So once again, back to the original thought, Rafflecopter, 3-key stage of Rivals. The only other thing is if you play online, you've got to be there online with your buddy. So hopefully maybe in future releases, if this thing continues to grow, they'll get it to where it's, you can put in a code or have a friends list and you can challenge them and you can go, what is that asymmetric?
Asynchronous. So you ain't got to play at the same time. Yeah. Because you and I had to play at the same time. And that I would like with Ascension, a lot of the games, it'd be nice just to kind of take your turn and put it down.
But hey, I'm having a blast as a single player against the computer, or if I just jump online and say play anybody, it'll match me up if someone is there.
So that's on our website on Rafflecopter that you're setting that up, right?
That is correct, on the blog at Rolling Dice and Taking Names, or rolldicetakenames.com.
Yeah, so you're the one responsible for our website, right? You are the one that you put the blog post out there, correct? And you update the links, like you updated our link to an image for a miniature market, where you can go out there and clickety on the miniature market logo and go through our page and get a promo. So let me ask you something, Tony.
Well, hold on. Well, let me define something first.
Yes.
Responsibility, I would say, is loosely defined here, but okay, I'll go. I'll go with that.
You're the one putting content on the site, correct?
Yes, I will go with that. Yes, Mr. Senator. Yes.
Okay, so I was looking at our web statistics the other day. And every once in a while, I like to go and look at some Google searches where people can find us. I'm curious, if people search for Rolling Dice and Taking Names, do they find us? And lots of times they'll find us through Roll Dice or Board Game and Dice. Sometimes they may not even be looking for us and our site pops up, which is great. May I ask you, sir, why in the heck do the terms Viagra selfie and Viagra porn on the search engine? Is our site's going to have that?
Maybe I subliminally put those texts in the blog post.
Whoa, stop. You're putting the words Viagra selfie and Viagra porn on our website?
Not to my knowledge, no.
So tell me, why if somebody searches this, would our site come up in that list?
I don't know. Maybe it could be some of the comments. I mean, we get over 1,000 comments on the website from robots all the time that we...
Are you running some other scam that I don't know about?
No, I'm not doing anything. If I wanted to, that is a great way to drive interest, though.
And what kind of sick person searches for that? And to be honest with you, I thought this can't be right. And as I started to type that in, common sense took over, Tony, and I didn't press the enter button. It's like, no, I do not want to search this because I fear what will show up.
I don't know, man. It's the internet. It's a dark web of lies.
So I was shocked. I was like, Rolling Dice and Taking Names, Rolling Dice podcast, Viagra porn. What? Viagra selfie? Viagra selfie? What?
Well, I mean, there's nothing wrong to do Viagra.
No, whoa, stop. There's something wrong with the Viagra selfie.
Well, that may
I don't even know what that means.
I don't know. I'm checking it out right now. You've got me curious.
Are you typing those words in now?
I did not type in selfie, but I did type in Viagra to see what would happen.
You got to put the two together.
Okay.
No, never mind. Do not do that while we're recording. Do not.
Okay, why not?
Well, because all these ads are going to start popping up on your screen and then it'll lock up your computer.
Oh, okay. Okay, I'll stop doing that. Okay. So that's pretty cool.
Is it cool?
It's kind of interesting. I mean, it's kind of like we're on Facebook or something where our information is being sold.
That's a whole nother topic. So anyway,
I guarantee you he is not selling Rolling Dice and Taking Name pictures. I can guarantee that.
That ain't helping anybody.
I ain't helping that. Mark Zuckerberg's like, how can I delete that account?
People looking for good Viagra porn and our picture shows up and it's like, whoa, that is not what I expected.
But I will say that make sure you continue to go over to Miniature Market /RDTN or clicky on the link on our site. We always appreciate that. The coupon ended on, I think, April 15th. Maybe we can sweet talk them to extend it. Maybe something big's coming out. We'll see what we can do. We'll work something out.
There's a new promotion right now, so go click on it and see what it is.
Yeah, April Fools.
No, that was a while ago. There'll be something there. I don't know what.
And then they sent out that picture of us. Oh my God. That's why we're in podcasting. Oh.
Well, duh. That and our future career in Viagra porn.
Oh man, I will put that. I'm going to start putting those on some of the posts just for the fun of it.
Oh Lord, the bots that are going to find us.
I don't understand how all that works anyway. My next thing is after lawnmowers, I have to find security cameras. And I just don't understand PoE and all. Oh man, technology has left me. I'm
PoE.
Yeah, something on internet, Ethernet or I forget what it's called now.
Power over Ethernet?
That's it. I'm so old. It's sad.
Yeah, you are.
So I'll tell you what, I'm going to go play some Space Base and keep rolling dice.
And taking names. Thanks for listening to another episode of RDTN. If you want to support the show, please do so at podpledge.com/RDTN. Follow us on Twitter at Dyson Names, Instagram Dyson Names. Come join our BGG Guild 1589 where we're so close to 1,500 members. Thanks, y'all.
Would you look at the size of those decks?
Whoa. Did you actually search Viagra selfie?
No, man. I'm looking at mower decks.
Oh, my bad. I was so excited to see the Broken Token's latest product offering, an Ashes organizer. Now, granted, they made some other organizers that would work in the past with that box, but what they've done is they've added in some additional trays that will hold all the existing dice, because 2 new dice sets have come out, a lot new expansions have come out, all the additional tokens, and all that now fits in one box. And I'm really excited at the price because it's only $24.99. So, Tony, I will be all over this. I know that you don't play Ashes a lot anymore. I still do. And I've actually run out of a good way to organize my cards. So I will be going out to the brokentoken.com and getting an Ashes organizer so I can get all my cards sorted in one nice convenient box.